In this class, we started to work on a Bartók violin duet. So let me just review a few things that we did before I start setting the session up. We selected over here grid mode. We wanted blue, and also over here grid mode, and we can set up the resolution of the grid here. We'll leave it at eighth note since there are eighth notes in this piece, and when we edit, we'll want to edit to eighth notes. We have the conductor track here. I gave you a quick tip on how to set up a preset for if something is a little difficult for you to play. So this piece is quarter note 80, so we'll make it 60. And what we'll do is over here, first let me set this up. Let me get rid of the time code, and let me get rid of samples. Okay. Over here at the beginning of the piece, we're going to set the tempo at 80. So we double click on this, and we make sure our location is bar 1, beat 1, and we just simply make sure that that's highlighted and type in 80. And then the beginning of our piece, we have our tempo. Okay, now counting this piece up, the time signature, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 measures of 3/4. So we click on this. Bar 1 is 3/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5 measures. So on measure 6, we want to have a measure of 2/4. Then measure 7 is 3/4, so I highlight that and punch in 7 on my keypad, and then go here, back to 3/4, 8, 9, measure 10 is 2/4, that means measure 11. 3/4, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Measure 18. It's 2/4. (19) is 3/4. That showed you another way of doing it. Just then so 19 was 3/4, so 20, 21, 22 is 2/4. So if you click on the meter, the plus sign here, you can type in 22 there, and then 3/4 all the way to the end. So I hope that that's right. I'm only going to be recording the first few measures here in editing, so I'll check that later when I actually sequence this piece as part of my weekly assignment. All right. So we now want to, now that we have the structure of the piece, we want to add some instrument tracks. So Command, Shift, and the letter N. We want to make 4 stereo instrument tracks. And another thing I would like for you all to do is on the far right hand side here, where it's A and Z, just click on that and make sure it's amber, and then you can use the letter R and T. So R is zooming out and T on your keyboard is zooming in. And also down here at the bottom, this little slider thing, to the right takes you later in the piece, and to the left takes you earlier in the piece. You could see the whole edit window moving. Alright, so now I want to add our expand to here. I've added it, and I'm going to copy it by first making sure it's highlighted, and then holding down the Option key and dragging. Holding down the Option key and dragging, highlight, hold down the Option key and drag, and then let go. Alright, that's a command, key command, and a mouse key command activity that you will be doing often in editing situations. So what we did was, I think we did in class flute. So I'm naming my tracks. Next, oboe. Whoops. Clarinet. Spell correctly, please. And bassoon. Then I highlight the top track here and I go up to my presets, go to brass and woodwind, and I'm going to put in plus 36, which is flute. I'm going to go to this one here, same thing, brass and woodwind. We want to go to oboe, which is plus 41. Then highlight the clarinet track. Oops, I'm sorry, you probably couldn't see that. So we highlight the clarinet. Let's go back and do that again. Highlight the flute track and expand shows up, and go to 36 flute. Highlight the oboe track, same thing, 41 oboe. Highlight the expand track on the clarinet, brass and woodwind. I think the clarinet's way down at the bottom that I would like, so just 32 clarinet. And then for the bassoon, same thing. And let's see, bassoon is plus 42. Okay, close this window right now. And we're going to set up our panning. So we'd like to, let's say, have the flute panned a little bit to the left, oboe a little less to the left, clarinet a little to the right, and bassoon to the right. So these are fairly symmetrical. Not exactly, but close enough. I don't really know if you're going to be able to tell the difference between 36 and 38, or 37 and 38. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we've got our Bartok violin number 15 right here, and we're going to make sure that we're set up with our click track on and wait for note on. Let me get that. Window management. Okay. I have multiple screens, so I'm dragging this on and off, but it's only doing a screen recording of the bottom monitor. All right. So, make it return. And obviously it's not doing what I want, so it won't be on the same screen. Alright, so now I'm going to record the first two measures of the flute track. So I do that by going over here and enabling the flute track by clicking on the track record enable. Alright, you see that? And then I push Command and the space bar, and my click track should start going. So I'm using the 80 metronome, 80 for quarter note. Get ready, hear it in your head a little bit. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay, I recorded my flute track. Now my oboe track is going to start on over here, which is beat 2 of bar 1. So the way that we did that in class was bar 1, beat 2, enter the number 2, and then hit enter on your keypad, and we should be ready to go here on beat 2. So again, Command and spacebar. 1, 2, 3, 1. Good. And okay, our clarinet. So for right now, we only have 3 parts that we're working on. The clarinet is this line here, and we're going right up to this C sharp right here. Oh, no, actually not. We're going up to this G sharp here. Actually, you know what? What I think I'm going to do is record this line up to here, up to this A, as a bassoon, and then this bit as the clarinet, just to get us some orchestration here. So I go down to the bottom and I've got my bassoon, and I hit my return key, and click track. 1, 2, 3. Good. All right. Now we're going to play our clarinet. 1, 2, 3, 4 notes, and maybe we'll end on the A and do the A to D. Yeah, actually we'll end on this E. That's where that line ends. So from this D to this E. So this starts on bar 1, 2, 3, beat 2. All right. So bar 3, type in 3, and you can use your right arrow key to toggle back and forth. 2. So the less, and enter. So the more you use the keyboard and the less you use the mouse, the faster you'll be at doing stuff. Yep. All right. So start our click track. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Good. All right, so we have our 4 tracks recorded. I hit return. I'm back at the beginning of the piece, and let's just let them play for a second. Good. Now let me edit these as I taught you in class. So first, we'll double click on the flute clip. Oh, let me go back and show you something. Over here in this area to the left, see all these different things, right? We talked about them before with our velocity in class, with the velocity and our expression. Make sure that for this exercise that each one of these tracks is in clips mode. Clips. All right, and then you should have these blue regions. We can change the colors on those. Maybe we'll do that during class on Friday. So double click on this or right click, and because over here on the right we have the A and Z highlighted, if we click on T we will scroll in, and for the purposes of our class here we want to make sure that all of the notes are exactly the length that they are in the music. So we want to use our trimmer tool, and then just click here in the meter bar or in the markers or the time code, and then you'll see that this is not highlighted. So the background is a lighter color and the notes are a darker color. Let me show you that again. So if I double click on this, you'll see that the background is a darker color and the notes are a lighter color. If you click up here with the trimmer tool, then it reverses itself. If you have the selector tool or the grabber tool, you can click in here anywhere and it'll change it. But this tool you have to. I'm not sure about that. Actually, I think with the trimmer, it's with the pencil tool. That's right. It's with the right. No, see, yeah, that does do that. So all right, so you have to be up here. I'm sorry, I'm being a little confusing right now, but you're up here, and now you can edit it away. So we've got our grid mode set up, and right here, 8th note. We want the blue, the absolute grid, and let's just trim away. So I'm clicking and pulling. And then what's that? That's a quarter note. All right. All right, so that's done. Now we want to change the velocity, make it a little bit more even. So with the pencil tool, you got to be really careful, because if you click with the pencil tool in your edit area, you'll add a note. Okay, and if you do that, the way to get rid of that note is command. You can either hit, it's highlighted, so you can either hit delete, the delete key, and it'll go away, or you can hit the command Z and it'll go away. So what we want to do with the velocity here. And if this doesn't come up, and you're like your window shows up like this, there's an arrow here in the this brown margin here. You click on that, and then it'll open up this little area here with all these velocities. So the velocity, as I said in class, is the speed that the key gets depressed on the keyboard. So you just put your mouse over here to the right, or you could do it from the left, but I prefer to go from the right to the left when I'm at the beginning of a piece, because sometimes if you start here, it's hard to get the very first note. So I click and hold it down and just slide my arrow, my mouse over to the left, and I've evened out those velocities. All right, now to close this window, you can either click on this little button here, or you can use the key command, Command W. And now let's do the oboe track. Have the Smart tool selected, so these are eighth notes. That's a half note. And that's a half note. And we go to our pencil tool, and we straighten out those velocities. That's a little high actually, so let me do it again a little lower. And the clarinet. And the pencil tool, click up here. Another trick is if you want to, you can select an area using the Selector tool, and the way you do that is to click on an area, and then this blinking line here is the Edit Cursor. Okay, that's different than the Playback Cursor. I'll show you that in a minute. The Edit Cursor blinks on and off. So I'm clicking and I'm holding down, I'm dragging to the right to the end here, and all these notes are highlighted. Now if I want to do just a group change, very even group change to all these notes, the velocity, I go up here to my trimmer tool and I hover above an area in this edit part of the edit window, and you could see that the direction of the trimmer tool has changed. Up here you see it goes to the left, and then down here it points down. So then if you click, hold down and drag, you'll see all the notes lower their velocity. And the reason I'm doing that is that this is an inside part, it's not a melodic part, and you don't want it to be as loud as the melody or the bass line. So if I bring the velocity down, it'll be a little quieter and a little softer in tone also. Alright, now let's just do this bassoon part. Same thing. Click up here. Oh, actually, I told you something incorrect. Clarinet is a bass line. I would be doing that to the oboe track. Huh. There you go. Always double check what you're doing. Alright, so let me bring this back up a little bit. So this is now the extension of the bass line. The second violin part. And let me even out these velocities. And let me close this window, and let me play back, and this should sound a little better. Okay, so for me, the flute can be louder and the oboe can still be softer. So there's two ways to do that. Let's check the velocity on the flute track. Let's raise that up. So the whole thing is selected now. You can see it's dark background and lighter notes. And just get over here and bring the velocity up. Close that window, and let's go to the oboe track, and let's bring these velocities way down. And let's play that, hit return. Okay, so the flute's a little loud now, so let's just back off a little bit on that. And also, let me just show you something else here. So there's a line that's going to be going across here as it's playing back. Okay, that will be called the playback cursor. So it's a solid line. It blinks when you're stopped, but when it plays back, it's solid. So you could see over here, or if I leave it here, you can see that there's something, it's blinking up here on the timeline. But once it starts playing back, it's a solid line that goes across and lets you know where you are on the timeline. And there you have it. That's what we've learned in this group. Oh, also save, and which is Command S. And there you have our video review of Class 2. Okay, any questions, feel free to ask me during class.